Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I received a lot of questions and DMs on Instagram about the type of materials that I use for my watercolor work. If you haven't seen my Instagram account, go check it out. I've left a link in the description below. Here's an insight into all the things I love to use, so let's dive in. Let's start with a basic requirement: paper. I believe the type of paper used has a big impact on how your final piece looks like. I've experimented with a lot of different types of paper to finally find the one that I prefer. What paper you use depends on your personal preference and the type of work that you do. I love using Arches cold pressed 300 GSM 100% cotton acid-free watercolor paper. They come as sheets as well as blocks. This one comes as sheets. This is a A3 size paper. You can use them in the size that they come in, or like me, you can cut them up to your required size. This one is a paper block. Now this is a 640 GSM paper, much higher than the 300 GSM paper. If you have not used a paper block before, it basically is a block of sheets that are glued together on all the four sides. I paint directly on the block and then just remove the paper from this end by inserting a palette knife. I'll show you an example of one of my works. As you can see, the paper has absolutely no buckling. So if you do not like stretching your paper, or if you do not have time to stretch your paper, block is the way to go. Another thing that I love about Arches paper is that the texture of this paper is amazing. It holds and absorbs the water beautifully. That means you get more working time. You can create amazing depth in your work as it holds a lot of washes. The blends and blooms that it creates are flawless. You can see all the blends that you can do on this paper, as well as a little bit of blooms that you can create. This is actually the back side of the Arches paper. I use this for a little bit of smoother texture. So goes to say that you can use front and back side of Arches paper as well. Arches paper has a bit of a steep price tag and will leave a dent in your pockets. So I would suggest, if you are still in the process of figuring out your work style, test some other brands as well. I also use khadi paper or handmade paper for my work. I love the texture of the handmade paper. It is not uniform, and therefore you can make a lot of different gradients on this paper. I have linked a few of the alternatives that you can use in the description below, so go ahead, check them out. Another thing that you can use are sketchbooks before you go on to your sheets and blocks. I recently started using this Arteza watercolor sketchbooks. The price is great and I've started liking the quality as well. It comes as a set of 3, so great value. Paper is such a huge topic that it needs its entire video, so I will be doing an in-depth video on different kinds of watercolor paper soon. Stay tuned. Let's talk about paints. Watercolors come in tubes as well as half pans and full pans. I personally use the Winsor & Newton Professional 24 color pan set. I love the ease of a pan set as all my colors are in one place. You can easily change out a pan if you don't use any color, or rearrange them according to your preference. Like I've done here, I have added a few colors that I use frequently and were not in the original set. They had an extra white. In watercolors we do not use white, so I took it out. You can buy these empty half pans and then fill them up with the colors that you like from the tubes. However, Winsor & Newton do not recommend filling their pans with the tubes, but I think every artist does it. It's just so convenient. I also use some other good brands like Daniel Smith, Schminky. Daniel Smith has a great granulation in their colors that I love in my paintings. If you are just starting out, I would recommend buying Winsor & Newton Cotman colors. Even though they are student grade colors, they are beautifully light fast and have a lot of pigment in them. One of the things that I love about watercolors is that it can be easily reactivated once dried. It's very easy, and I'm gonna just show you how to do it. You can buy these spray bottles from any shop, hardware shop or online. All you have to do is fill it with water, spritz your pan set, take a brush, dip it in water, and these colors can be easily reactivated and used. As far as tubes are concerned, you can use the working space in your palette. You can just squeeze a color from a tube and then activate it using your brush and some water. Or you can also use palettes like these. They come in variety of sizes and materials. You can get plastic ones or ceramic ones. Or if you don't have plastic ones, ceramic ones, or don't want to buy one, you can just take a white ceramic plate from your kitchen. So here I have some colors that I took out from a tube. See how easy it is to reactivate them. All I did was dip my brush in water and went over it. As far as the watercolor brushes are concerned, these are some of the favorite brushes that I use. There are a number of brushes that are available in the market, and you might get confused at first, but go ahead, try them out and see which one suits your style. For my brushes, these are my wash brushes. This is a Graduate Taylor Rowney oval brush. This is a goat hair and synthetic blend brush. It's a student grade brush, but I love it. The best part about this brush is, like in this painting, I was able to give this fine background with this brush, because when you dip it in the water, it becomes like a flat edge, and hence you can give very nice fine edges if you give the backgrounds after you're done with the subject painting. This is another brush that I picked up from somewhere. I don't even know where I picked it up from, but this is one of my favorite brushes. It's a squirrel hair brush by Rico design. This is also a great brush for giving backgrounds, for giving large areas and small areas. Like in these ones, to give the fine pinpoints in between my paintings, I used its fine point. Again, I forgot to mention that most of the brushes used in watercolors are round brushes, as round brushes hold a lot of water in their belly and have a fine point to them to give fine edges or finer details in watercolors. Another brush that I use very often is this silver black velvet size 6 brush. This one is a mix of squirrel and synthetic hair. I love the control it gives me when I'm doing a watercolor painting, like the painting that I did here. I gave most of the details with this single brush. Even the small strokes, the small feathers were given by the amazing point that this brush has. So another one of my favorite brushes. Next brush that I'm going to be talking about is this one that I ordered from Amazon when I was just starting out with my watercolor paintings. I still love them. It was a full set that came. It's synthetic hair. It has a fine point when you dip it in water, and I use these brushes for giving more pigment and less water. As being synthetic, it does not hold a lot of water or pigment, but when you have to layer on a darker pigment over wash beneath, this is one of my favorite brushes. I use almost every size of this brush, but number 4 is my favorite. The most premium brushes that you can find in the market and the most used brush in watercolors are the Kolinsky Sable brushes. Now this is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 Kolinsky Sable brush. It comes in various sizes. It is a natural hair brush, has a great snap to it, and holds a lot of water and pigment. A painting that I did with this is this beautiful magnolia. I love the feel of a Kolinsky Sable brush. You can give fine details, you can put a beautiful light wash with it. I really like this brush, but having said that, again, it is the most expensive brush in the market. So if you are starting out, or if you are testing whether you like watercolors or not, I would say start with something like a mixed synthetic and natural hair brush, or even a synthetic brush like I did. It will help you to figure out what kind of work you want to do. If you still don't like the feel of a synthetic brush, go ahead, buy these. Another type of most common brush that are used with watercolors are quills. These are usually used for like loose watercolor florals or for loose paintings. It holds a lot of water. I do not do loose watercolors, so I cannot give you a lot of information on that, but they come in various sizes that are different from the normal brushes, and if you are into loose watercolor paintings, this is a great brush. Some of the very basic supplies that I use is a normal pencil for my sketches. This one is a 4H pencil. 4H, it's a very light pencil, and hence sometimes I don't even erase my sketch before I start my watercolors because of how light it is. Another thing, a normal eraser. I also have a kneaded eraser. If I make a sketch that is a little bit darker and I need to lighten the lines before I start a watercolor, this is the best eraser that you can find. It does not harm the paper, but erases the lines beautifully. Another beautiful thing that I have. Now this is actually a makeup brush, but I use it quite often with my paintings, especially to get rid of the eraser. What do you call those eraser thingies that dust? Yes, eraser dust. So this is used to get rid of the eraser dust. Another thing is, this is called a masking fluid. Now masking fluid is an amazing thing to have when you do watercolors. If you don't want to put water on a specific part, like the eye of a bird or an animal, or somewhere that you want to make stamen, like in my hibiscus painting, I used it to mask the stamen, the anther of my flower before I started painting the entire flower. That way I was able to make the stamen or give the color later. I already introduced you to my little spray bottle. I always keep 2 jars of waters. These are my empty jam bottles that I used. So basically you can recycle any plastic or glass jars that you have at home to fill in waters. This is a masking tape that I use to basically put my paper to the board. This keeps it in place and also gives an amazing edge clean edge to my painting when I take it off, just like this one. A very clean edge, gives a beautiful contrast and an edge to your painting. Cloth towels or paper towels are something that you should always have when you're doing watercolor paintings, to clean your brush, to take off excess water. Water control is very important in watercolor paintings. Too much water and you'll get hard lines, too little water and you will be just doing a dry brush. So this is amazing. I've used it a number of times and it still has a lot of capacity left in it. Another thing that I use are my pens. These are one of my favorite ways to give details. This is a Pigma Micron, Sakura Pigma Micron pens. They give beautiful fine lines when I have some details like feathers or fur. It really helps in defining those. Other pens that I use are your basic jelly roll pens from Sakura. I use them to give the droplet effects here on this bird. And this one is again one of my favorite pens. If I can open it, yeah. So this is a brush pen. It has beautiful pigment, and I use this to give a fine line, a beautiful fine line. If you can see, a dark line with black. Now these jelly roll pens, they are great, but when you put it on a paper over paint, it is not as opaque. Sometimes you want like a very opaque white color. These can be a little bit of translucent rather than opaque. If I really want something opaque white, I use Uniball Signa or Signo board pen. Like over here for these beautiful feather details, I used this one. It has a beautiful opaque white color. Another nice thing to have is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. This is a very nice opaque white that you can use with brush to give details in your artwork. So that is pretty much most of the supplies that I use. I hope this was useful. I will be doing more detailed videos on some of these topics such as paper selection, paints, etc. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. Till next time, bye.